Week 16 of the fantasy football season. Here's the top 12 kickers I'm ranking this week. The first kicker, Ka'im Fairbairn of the Houston Texans. So Fairbairn, got a big boot all season long, 55 plus yarders. He's got the distance. And this week it's a good matchup at the Kansas City Chiefs, where they're bend but don't break type of defense. No arrowheads allowed place, tough time to kick at times. But Fairbairn, it doesn't matter what stadiums he's in. He's kicking that football at a great rate. He's got a big boot, and he's on an offense. Gets a lot of opportunities in the red zone and have to settle for field goals. So Fairbairn this week, I believe, has another good game. Number 2, Chris Boswell of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So this week, a big division matchup at the Baltimore Ravens. And the last time they versed, a few weeks ago, Chris Boswell, he hit 6 field goals in that game to lead Pittsburgh to an 18-16 victory. So Boswell's got a good boot, one of the more accurate kickers of all time, and especially 50-plus yards. He's been automatic, is Boswell. So this week at Baltimore, I think he goes out there, has another game. Number 3, Will Reshard of the Minnesota Vikings. So this Viking team all season long, they're an offense that gets a lot of opportunities in the red zone. Will Reshard, he's had a good rookie season. We know he missed 4 games and came back a few weeks ago where John Parker Romo filled in, and he got a lot of opportunities and played well. So this Viking offense, they just create a lot of opportunities for their kickers. And this week at Seattle, I believe there'll be more opportunities with that defense in Seattle's men but don't break unit. I know Seattle's a tough place to kick the football, but Reshard, he's had a great rookie season, and he's got confidence from 50-plus yards. Number 4, Brandon Aubrey of the Dallas Cowboys. So Aubrey's still getting his opportunities. We know his range is almost unlimited, up to 65 yards. He could kick the football from his Brandon Aubrey. And this week in a matchup where I could see both teams putting some points on the board versus Tampa Bay, Brandon Aubrey, I believe, will get opportunities. It's another home game for this Cowboy team, where obviously indoors is easier to kick the football than out. And versus Tampa Bay, you know, you got to put points on the board, so they might trot him out there for a few long ones. Number 5, Chase McLaughlin of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, staying in the same game. So McLaughlin, it's been a good season for him. And when you're on a high-powered offense, many opportunities are going to be there, and that's exactly been the case with McLaughlin this season. So he's another kicker. 50-55 yards isn't a problem for him. Indoor game at the Dallas Cowboys, a defense that can't stop anyone. And it wouldn't be surprising to me if he reaches double digits in fantasy points for the second week in a row. Number 6, Harrison Butker of the Kansas City Chiefs. So Butker returned from injured reserve last week. He only had a few extra points in that ball game. And Patrick Mahomes, it looks like he's going to play in this one. He practiced fully. And this week, it's a decent matchup versus the Houston Texans, where their defense is bent but don't break at times. And we know this Chief team, they get a lot of field goal opportunities. I know last week it was just 3 touchdowns and nothing more than that. But I think Butker this week will get a few more opportunities, and they might have to put points on the board if they want to pull this one out, because this Houston offense, I know, hasn't been great this season, but they're obviously capable of putting up 30-plus points. Number 7, Jake Bates of the Detroit Lions. So Bates last week, he missed 1, but I think he's going to bounce back. And when you're on one of the more high-powered offenses in all the league, opportunities are going to be there week in and week out. Jake Bates at Soldier Field this week with this bad defense gives up a decent amount of field goals on the season. And like I said, anytime you get multiple opportunities, you're going to work your way into points as long as you're accurate. And Bates, he's only missed 1 field goal this season, so I don't think missing that one is a big deal. Number 8, Cameron Dicker of the Los Angeles Chargers. So the last couple weeks, his numbers have taken a slight hit, is Cameron Dicker. But this week in a matchup with the Denver Broncos coming to town, where, you know, their defense is bent but don't break, I think field goal opportunities are going to be there for Cameron Dicker. We know he's automatic from 50-plus yards. And anytime you play indoors as well, that's always a plus. You don't have to deal with the elements and just have to kick that football accurate, and it's going to go where you want it to go. Number 9, Younghoe Koo of the Atlanta Falcons. So Mike Penix in there at quarterback. We'll see if this offense looks a little bit better after Kirk Cousins over the last month of the season, 1 touchdown, 9 interceptions, and they needed to make a change. They drafted Penix 8 overall for a reason, I believe, thinking if this happened, they will put him in the lineup. And also Kirk Cousins, I know they're paying him a boatload of money, but this Falcon team is in the mix. With Younghoe Koo, he's going to get opportunities in this game. I don't think they're going to take a lot of big opportunities in the red zone with the rookie Penix, where that leads me to believe Younghoe Koo will get a few more opportunities, where Kirk Cousins, they want more aggressive, obviously, with the veteran quarterback. So this week with a good matchup versus the Giants and a home game, Koo's had great games throughout his career and a better kicker at home than he's in on the road. I like him as a top 10 option. Number 10, Jason Sanders of the Miami Dolphins. So another kicker who's way better at home than he is on the road. Jason Sanders pretty much his home games have been double-digit games for him over the last few weeks. So last week it was a down game overall for the Dolphins at Houston. They just can't play well on the road for whatever reason. And this week back in the warm weather, and that ball flies obviously over there in Miami. So Jason Sanders with a good matchup in a potential high-scoring game versus the 49ers. I think he bounces back this week. Number 11, Justin Tucker of the Baltimore Ravens. So Tucker, he hit a few field goals last week, but it's been a down year for Justin Tucker, and I believe his best years are behind him. 50-plus yards, you're not going to get it from him even coming into the season. And now, even this year, some 35, 40-yarders, he's missed a decent amount of time. So this week in a crucial matchup versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, where if Baltimore loses this game, I think their opportunity of winning the division is gone. So I think Tucker, we'll see if he could go out there, have another good game. Last week was a starting point for him, but I still don't trust him 100%, and that's why he's still down in the rankings. Fourth and final kicker rankings, Jake Elliott of the Philadelphia Eagles. So Jake Elliott, it's been a solid season for him for the most part. This week, a road game at the Commanders where both teams, I believe, are going to put points on the board. And this Eagle offense, if they play anything like they did last week, it's going to be a great game once again for Elliott, where he came off 10 fantasy points. I know Philadelphia scored a lot of touchdowns this season, but last week they just had more urgency in that offense, and they were moving the football quicker down the field, passing it, where Saquon didn't have a big game, but also he was on the sidelines a lot in the first half, but it led to more field goals in this one, and possibly that happens once again, where they got to settle for a few, but also as well have more opportunities in the red zone this week at the Commanders. That's the top 12 kickers I'm ranking for Week 16 of the fantasy football season.